Velkommen til Auckland. Det var hit Harald Oskar kom med båt i 1904, og nå skal vi følge i hans fotspor i New Zealand. Da han ankom havna her nede, ble han arrestert og satt i Mount Eden fengsel i 2 måneder. Deretter jobbet han på flere båter rundt omkring i New Zealand. Og nå skal Katja og Ross ta oss med rundt omkring i New Zealand og vise oss alle stedene hvor Harald Oskar og Amrida har bodd. Da Harald Oskar kom til New Zealand var det ikke noe jernbane mellom Wellington og Auckland, så det var en stor jobb å gjøre. Harald var med og bygde denne brua bak her, og han var blant jobbene var å feste jernbaneskinnene til svillene. Han var også med å frakte inn treverk fra sidespor som de brukte til sviller. Nå er vi i Raurimu, og et av de største problemene her for å få jernbanen fram var den fjellet i bakgrunnen her. Harald var med på å bygge en spiral og en tunnel for å få jernbanen fram. Han jobbet her i 1905-1906 og kom tilbake i 1916 sammen med familien etter at han hadde giftet seg, og bodde i et hus som vi kan se i bakgrunnen her.
Around 1915, Harald met Andersen and a romance blossomed, and they had a child. Her name was Dorothy, and she was born in May 1916. They themselves married in October 1916. And they went on to have 5 more children, and they lived in the King Country during this time. The next child that was born was Harald, and Harald only lived 15 hours, and he's buried in the bush near Mangapehi. Then Eric Oscar was born in 1918, and he's my father. Olga Barbara was born in 1921. Frederick Andrew born in 1924. And Thomas Keith, known as Keith, was born in 1935. Andrina was a remarkable woman. She only had 1 leg. She'd had polio as a child, and when she was in early adulthood the leg was removed, and so she would get around with 1 crutch and a walking stick, and she brought up 5 children deep in the King Country with just 1 leg. And all of us grandchildren have memories of her prodding us with the end of her walking stick and pointing and poking, and some of them even said that the hook on her walking stick she'd put around their legs to pull them in.
Da jernbanen var ferdig, begynte Harald Oskar å jobbe i skauen eller på et sagbruk som dette, noe han holdt på med i 20 år. I løpet av denne perioden bodde de i hytter ute i bushen, mens barna vokste opp. Trestokkene ble kjørt ned på små jernbaneskinner, sidespor, ned til dette sagbruket og skjært opp. Vi er nå i Mangapehi, hvor det var 2 sagbruk, og hvor Harald Oskar bodde sammen med sin familie. Flere av hans barn ble født her. Han bodde litt her nede i Mangapehi og litt i Pukimako. I Pukimako var det en masse hytter som skogsarbeiderne bodde i, og derfra fraktet de tømmeret ned på sidesporene ned til sagbrukene her nede. Det sydligste stedet Harald bodde var i Ohakune, berømt for sine gullrøtter og fjellet Ruapehu. Han jobbet på en gård her og bodde her sammen med familien sin, hvor Olga ble født i 1921. I 1937 flyttet Andrina og barna hit til Manunui fra bushen. Her fikk guttene jobb, og Erik jobbet I en fabrikk som lagde små kasser til smør. Det var her han allerede første uka kuttet av seg fingeren. Harald Oskar slo seg sammen med den da senere og så etter annen type jobb. Da Harald Oskar pensjonerte seg, flyttet han og Andrina hit med familien og drev et pensjonat på jordet bak oss her. Treet vi kan se trolig det samme som gamle bilder viser av dette stedet. Barna gikk på en skole like ved her, og Erik, et av barna, jobbet hos Ellis and Bernard, et stort sagbruk som var her I Ongarue.
There is nothing left of the sawmill now, the Ellison Bernard sawmill, but this is where they brought the logs down here and took them to the train. And it was also the way that the local people would often walk to the sawmill, so Eric would walk down the road and through this path to the mill.
This is Lindsay McMillan and this is Audrey Walker, and together they produced the book Ongarue, a beautiful big fat book about this small town. And they particularly Lindsay has lived here for a long time.
And when you came here, do you remember the boarding house?
I do remember it. It was 1964. It was very derelict. I remember it being very shabby, funny old curtains, tatty curtains hanging at the windows, and nobody went near it.
And what happened to it at the end?
It was in the 60s sometime. It was pulled down. There were a lot of derelict buildings about that time, and they decided that they had to be pulled down for safety.
Mm-hmm. This was what the sawmill was like at its heyday.
And then that's a very early picture of it when it looked spanking new.
And that's what it's like today.
Yeah.
Nothing there. You can just see the loading bay.
Loading racks.
Yeah, where they loaded the logs.
The Lokies used to go right up into the bush as far as you can see there, about 23 k's, and they'd haul the logs down on the bogies, bring them down to the mill here where it's all cut up, and then it would be loaded at the loading ramps, which was just that strip of concrete there, and taken into the village and put onto the main rail, and a lot of it went to Hamilton, was used for houses.
Grunnen til at Harald, Oskar og Andrina begynte med hotelldrift var fordi Harald ødela ryggen da han var I 50-åra. Her I Hamilton drev de 2 hoteller, Empire Hotel og Windsor Hotel. Empire Hotel brant ned, og det var I Windsor Hotel Andrina døde.
I'm Rose Andrina, the eldest granddaughter of Harald Oskar. He was a lovely grandfather, and they used to welcome us every time we went there, even though we lived apart from everyone else at the time. Nana used to we called her Nana, she used to take me everywhere with her when I worked for her, and they treated all their grandchildren the same, and they seemed to just love everybody. I can't think of
Harold himself, what was he like?
Harold? He was a real gentleman, never went out of the house without a shirt and tie on, and he was used to help Nana Nana became the breadwinner, and he used to always be there to help her, to set the fires going, to set the table, and just was there.
And they were a good team then?
They were a real good team. They seemed to just work together.
And who was the boss?
I think Andrina was.
And tell us about her then.
As you all know, she had one leg quite, say, in her 20s, and she had brought up these 5 children, and she did cope with everything. She seemed to cope with everything, even with her one leg. She was a remarkable woman. and just Granddad was there for her.
And what about the way he spoke?
Even in his old age, broken English.
Yeah.
You really had to sit and listen to him. And my first memories, of course, were when I was only 4 and a half at the Tikawiti Grand Central Hotel. And then, funnily enough, 20 years later, when he was in his 80s, he passed away there because his son, Fred, was managing the Grand Central Hotel.
Oh, okay. Great.
Dette Grand Central Hotel som Harald Oskar og Andrina drev 2 ganger. Og det var her Harald Oskar døde, og på sitt dødsleie tenkte han nok fortsatt på hendelsen i Norge og sa nå kommer de å ta meg, nå kommer de å ta meg. I 2010 tok vi mot familien fra New Zealand i Norge. Nå vi i New Zealand og familiene samlet. Vi har sett hvor Harald Oskar døde i Tequiti. Han ble så kremert, og hans aske spredd utover kirkegården her i Pureva, Oppland. For oss har dette vært en fantastisk reise gjennom New Zealand, Nordøya, og vi har fulgt i Harald Oskars fotspor og sett hvor han har bodd og arbeidet. Og nå vi da på hans siste hvilested, hvor hans aske ble spredd utover da han døde i 1962.
Along the way, we've been able to show them some of New Zealand's most beautiful tourist spots. And we've experienced some of our special New Zealand culture.
ka noi ki te haua urungata, e ngā nguru o te rākau.
So this is Pornamu. It is a greenstone from New Zealand, from the South Island of New Zealand, and it's made into beautiful necklaces and other jewellery. And when you have one, you have someone place it on you for the blessing of it. It means strength and power and authority. There we go.
Thank you. And the same for Rua. And we hongi. Hongi touch noses twice. And we introduced them to the delights of Marmite. Gorgeous stuff.
And we've seen what it's like on our big sheep farms.
Come in, Katie.
And a special highlight has been meeting up with Harald's New Zealand family and introducing them to some of Harald's Norwegian family, and we've all come together and enjoyed each other's company. So the time with our Norwegian families come to an end and they have to go back to Norway. It's been wonderful having them here and getting to know them better, and they have enjoyed themselves as well. So safe travels, and we hope to see you back here sometime.
We love New Zealand. Vi älskar New Zealand.
We have had a great time in New Zealand, meeting the family. Vi har hatt en kjempefin tid i New Zealand, blant annet ved å møte familien.
We have met a lot of other nice people. Vi har møtt mange andre hyggelige folk.
It's a beautiful nature here. Det er kjempefin natur her.
Thank you, Katie and Ross. Takk skal du ha, Katie and Ross.
Bye bye. Bye bye.